Now at this point, you've finished your presentation. You've gone through the presentation and the customer's saying, show me. It's almost like, show me the money, right? You got to show them. So now it's time to go into the demo phase. Now this is important because again, the presentation is one thing. It's kind of just, showing them what you can and cannot do. But now you're going to get to the nitty gritty. You're going to show them through some type of demo. Now, whether you have a product or a service, you have to find out a way to demonstrate to them that you can do what you say you can do and you can solve some of their problems. Now, when you're doing a demo, 4 things to keep in mind. The first one is live. If you can do a live demo right there and then, those are the most powerful. So you have to understand, we believe what we see, and if we can see it right in front of us, all the better. So again, if your presentation can incorporate some type of live demo, then do it. Do it. Now, if you cannot, there are other options. Let's go to the second one, which is I can do a how-to. Well, Mr. Customer, here's how it would work. And you walk them through the steps of how it would work. You kind of do a how-to, then you would do this, then you would do this, then you would incorporate this, and then you would do that, Mr. Customer. Can you see how that would work? That's kind of a how-to. Not as powerful as a live demo, but guess what? In that situation, it could be done very effectively and very convincingly. The next one is during the how-to process or the live demo, but specifically during the how-to process, since you don't have a live demo, use visuals. Use visuals, whether it's pictures, images, so to speak, and just use something that will prove your point. As you're doing the how-to or even the live demo, remember, you're always trying to say, this is how we can solve your problem. So as you're showing them visuals, guess what? They'll remember those more. See, people remember data up to a certain point. Some people will forget 75% of that information within 24 hours. Listen to what I just said. Most people will forget the data you provided, 75% of it within 24 hours. But by using visuals, it becomes more tangible. It sticks. So that's what you want. You want it to stick, so you have to use visuals. And let's say, worst case, you don't have visuals to show. Well, then you want to use analogies. People love analogies. Analogies tend to break down the most complicated subject into something simple and understandable. Earlier on, I used an analogy with you. When I talked about the sales process, the analogy I used was what? Remember that? How to bake a cake using a recipe. That was my analogy to get you to think, oh, I can see that. Baking a cake, following the process, following the recipe is like following a sales process. Use analogies to kind of tie those two together. So again, let's recap. Doing a live demo is really the best way to prove to your customer, because it's all about proof. Prove to your customer that you can do what you say you're going to do, or what your product can do what it says it's going to do. And if you have a service, again, it might be tougher to show, which you may want to move into the how-to phase. And during the how-to phase, again, show them some information, show them some data, maybe show them some testimonials, some case studies. Again, not as powerful as visuals, but guess what? It works if that's all you got. But again, if we can use visuals, incorporate some type of visual, again, we're always interested in the before and after. I'm using this today, and if I buy your product, what's the after? Get the idea? When they're selling health supplements, what are they always selling you, the before and after? Well, today you're like this, but if you use our product, you could be like this. Mr. Customer, if you use our service, here's where you're at today. Using our service, here's where you can be, and here's some of the problems it'll solve for you tomorrow. And last but not least, to make sure that you're driving home the point, because sometimes the concept just doesn't stick, use an analogy. An analogy is really a visual reminder. So again, almost like a visual, but it's an analogy, but it's a very visual analogy that will stick with the customer's head. Incorporate these in your demo. Now again, what's the objective of the demo? Is as you're showing the features and the benefits, you want to tie it back to the advantage. And that advantage only has relevance if it's tied to the problem that you've identified earlier. Let's say that again. Demonstrate your feature, the benefits, and the advantage to the customer. But you have to tie it to a problem that they're currently having that we've discovered in the previous phase when we asked a lot of questions. Remember that? And as you show your feature, show your benefits, show your advantage, remember we talked about also objections. If there are certain objections you know they're going to raise, keep in mind that as you're talking about your feature, your benefit, advantage, tie those to those objections to make sure that you can kill those objections during your presentation. If done correctly, you're doing several things during this demo phase. You're saying, okay, here's what we said during the presentation, now we're showing it to you live. But Mr. Customer, let me emphasize again, here's how it can help you, here's how it'll solve your problem, here's why this is a better solution. So what I'd like you to do right now is look at your presentation that you've kind of outlined already. and say to yourself or ask yourself, where could I insert a live demo? If I can't, where could I insert a how-to step to kind of walk them through it? And where can I insert some visuals? And where do I think I'm going to need analogies to really drive home my point? So go ahead, start listing those out. Again, look at your presentation and then just kind of make a little check mark, little notes right by where you would insert a live demo, where you would insert a how-to, or maybe a visual or just simple analogy to make your point. Okay? Go through that list. Let's go ahead and accumulate that. Let's get going.